We have a very interesting data with us, facts and figures regarding India's Q2 GDP growth. Hello everyone, I am Avantika Kansal and you are watching New India Junction. So in today's video, let's look at GDP growth of India as a whole. Starting from the first slide, let's look at the estimated real GDP growth of Q2, which is July to September 2023. So here various international agencies estimated GDP rate percent for India's Q2 data is given. So Standard and Poor estimated it to be 6%, OECD again 6%, Modi again 6.1%, IMF 6.3%, Fitch 6.3%, World Bank at 6.3%, ADP at 6.4%, RBI at 6.5%. So largely the range which was estimated, which was predicted, was between 6% to 6.5% for Q2 of financial year 23-24 for Indian economy's GDP. Now let's look at the real GDP growth which has happened in Q2 and in H1. So in Q2 in July-September 2023, India stands at 7.6%, which is way beyond the expected range as we saw in the last slide. Also, let's look at the H1 growth of India's real GDP. So in April to September 2023 for H1, RBI expected somewhere around 5.8% real GDP growth, but India was able to achieve 7.7% in H1. So India was able to achieve 7.7% real GDP growth for H1. So this slide basically talks about the kind of growth which India has seen and vis-a-vis other economies in the world has seen. So let's look here. India is towering the world economies with the highest growth, real GDP growth in H1, 7.7%, which is followed by China, 5.6%, followed by Indonesia, 5.1%, Mexico 3.4%, US 2.7%, Japan 1.5%, France 0.9%, UK 0.6%, and Germany has shown a little negative, minus 0.2%. Now let's look at the factors, important factors which have contributed to GDP growth, especially from Q1 to Q2 of India's GDP. So first is import. Imports have gone up from 23.8% in April-June 2023, which is Q1 of this year, to 24.4% in Q2 of this year. Also, construction sector has done well. From 7.9% in Q1, it has gone to 13.3% in Q2. Also, if we look here in exports, it has increased from 2.4% in April-June 2023 to 2.9% in July to September 2023. And also manufacturing has done phenomenally well. In Q1 it was at 4.7% and now it has reached to 13.9%, almost 14% in Q2. Also now let's look at the nominal GDP and also the GDP deflator. So when we talk about nominal GDP, the GDP over a period of time is calculated with taking inflation in mind. So that is basically nominal GDP. And GDP deflator is the kind of increase in inflation that has been taken into consideration. So let me give you an example here. Let's say India's GDP growth was 100 last year and this year it is 110. So it has increased by 10 rupees. So this is not in percentage, it's everything in rupees. So it has increased by 10 rupees. But that is not the real GDP growth, that is the nominal GDP growth because it also includes the inflation rate. So let's say rupees 3 was the inflation rate. So now my actual real GDP that I have got is 107, and here my deflator would be here this inflation which has happened. So let's now let's get back to this graph. So let's look here. 9.1% is the nominal GDP in Q2, and here the deflator is 1.5%. So, and how do we calculate real GDP? We basically deduct deflator, which is 1.5%, from 9.1%, which takes us to 7.6%, which is the real GDP of the economy in quarter 2. Also, when we talk about H1, the nominal GDP stands at 8.6%. The deflator somewhere stands approximately at 1% in H1, which takes us to here. This is approximately 1%, not exactly 1%. So let's take it 0.9%, and which takes us to 7.7%. So that is how the concept of nominal GDP, GDP deflator, and real GDP works. So now let's see the massive jump which India has registered in the tax collection. So it has shown increase in tax buoyancy ratio, which is 1.9%. Now let's understand what is tax buoyancy ratio. So a tax is said to be buoyant if the tax revenue increase more than proportionally in response to a rise to the national income. So that is what has happened here, and that is why India has reported a tax buoyancy ratio here. Also, let's look at few other facts for the financial year 2023-24. So in October 2023, GST was more than rupees 1.72 lakh crore. Also, April 2023 onwards, maximum GST collection has taken place. GST has been increasing 13% every year since the year it was launched in India. Also, net tax revenue has increased 11.2% every year. And net tax revenue has reached to, this is the numbers, rupees 13 lakh crore. Also, corporate tax collection has increased by 17.4%, and personal income tax has also increased by 31.1%. So, well, all the numbers, facts, figures that we discussed about just now proves the resilience of the Indian economy. The Indian economy is thriving, and there are good chances that it might also outperform the predictions for the next quarter. So that's it for today's video. Please do like, share and subscribe to New India Junction. This is Avantika Kansal signing off. Until next time.